is Melissa Jones, who is on the phone and joins Peter Finch now.
Before we talk about that, these guys here, they want to spend all morning. If I gave them the choice, they'd speak 2 hours about that 350 race. But anyway, we've got the and probably about 2 minutes on the 315. But we have to cover Newmarket, which we will do a little bit later. But we have got 4 selections from Melissa Jones, and I'm glad to say that she's joined us on the other line. Good morning, Melissa.
Good morning, Peter.
I think the first thing to say to you before we go for your selection, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but I agree with 2 of your choices today, Melissa.
I'm not sure about that, Peter. Might be a bad thing.
Well, I tell you what, and if you'd be happy to know, I don't agree with your first one. But I just wanted to ask you, is it to do with the Chepstow form and the fact that it's a winner at Fosslas and you've got the Wales connection? Because you've gone for an absolute outsider in the 205, I think it is, if I just memory serves right, Eastern Dragon.
Eastern Dragon, yeah, Peter. I think this is a bit of value, really. I mean, he is a big price, justifiably so, because he does have a bit to drag on the ratings. But I feel this race, it might go hell for leather. He's won over 7 furlongs, and I think a quick run 6 might be right up his street. I think, there'll be a couple finishing from the back, and hopefully he'll be one of them. And I just thought, at a big price, he might be able to sneak into it. He's been in good form this season. Just have a bit to find, like I say. But
Melissa, I'm sorry to interrupt you. And I see that you put a 50 to 1 chance, and I really love the fact that you put a 50 to 1 chance on there. But I've got some bad news for you, man. I just found this out.
Oh.
It's a non-runner.
Oh, there we go.
So, well, there we go.
Your notebooks at home. Cross that out your notebooks.
Yeah, well, it is live, and no doubt you put it up in good faith, and we'll make a note of that. Eastern Dragon. And they might have pulled it out on the basis that so much money was coming in for Melissa, because everyone was tuning into betracingnation.com last night and putting a couple of quid on 50 to 1.
That's it, yeah, it could have been that.
Okay, let's move on to one that's definitely running, and one that I agree with you on, and that's in the Goodwood 315.
Goodwood 350, is this a Stewards Cup,
So, 315, Melissa, sorry.
315, Nareem.
Yep.
Nareem, sorry, I don't have the paper in front of me, been travelling down to Goodwood this morning. So, yeah, Nareem, French Raider, really good horse from across the sea. Basically, it might be suited by the way this race is run. It could turn out pretty tactical. I'm not convinced Venus de Milo really wants this trip, and I think Nareem could actually do her for speed in this contest. It's a tight little race, but Nareem, will be suited by the way it's run, and I think its value at the current prices, even though I think she's around 3 to 1. Is that correct?
Well, it's certainly been backed in. I mean, the vying for favouritism, Venus de Milo and our selection, Melissa. I hope you don't mind the word our selection.
I'll let you borrow that for this week.
Thank you very much. If it wins, it was yours. But no, it's been backed, and I can see the reasons why. I mean, we discussed earlier, the fact that kept in train as a 4-year-old is quite an indication they want to win a Group 1.
And it's steadily improving as well. It's hopefully can sort of take 1 notch up here, and it does have form with Flincher in France, which of course that ties in with Cirrus des Aigles. So there's every reason to think Nareem might be a bit too good for these. Okay,
let's move on to the Heritage Handicap, the Stewards Cup. You've gone for one that finished 5th last year. I look back on this race, it was a fast finishing 5th, and it's Ninjago.
Ninjago, yes, back off the same mark today. Last year had £5 from Rex Imperator, gets the same again. And Ninjago, there's not much room for error really off his current handicap mark, because he's so consistent in these big fields. He loves it, charging from the back to finish with that turn of foot that he traditionally shows. And hopefully, Ryan Moore can get him switched off. But I thought that often, his run started perhaps a little bit too late in the races. He gets going right at the finish. And if Ryan Moore can get him, travelling with a wet sail with sort of 2 to run, he could be able to pick up the leaders. And these big handicaps, they are really difficult, devilishly difficult for the punters. But Ninjago looks pretty solid. He's assured to run his race, really, and 12 to 1 looks a good bet.
Okay, that's Ninjago in the big race. Now, there's another one that I agree with you on. When I look for Jamie Spencer, I look to see when he's riding for Kevin Ryan, because I think the stats are pretty good. Well, certainly when I backed them, they are. And this horse is about 15 to 2. This is in the Doncaster 510. Captain Ramius, tell us why.
As ever, I'm always looking for value, and I've scoured the cards once again, sort of to see if there's anything outside these big races that, might provide that. And Captain Ramius has always been a good horse, and he's been running quite well this year, but I think, he really does like Doncaster. You look back, his last 3 runs, there's 2 seconds and a win. so he's really at his A game at Doncaster. There's a bit of pace in the race with Burning Thread. Captain Ramius does like to be up there as well, so hopefully those two can sort of go at the right pace in the race to, you know, hopefully not set up for anything coming from behind. I thought it was a bit of a dodgy one. You know, Spinatrix at the bottom needs the rain, and I thought the favourites were a little bit dodgy. The top one, Justinio, has been put up by a couple of tipsters, but Captain Ramius has actually beaten this one, and now he gets weight from him as well. So I think there's a lot in Captain Ramius' favour and perhaps overlooked in the market here.
Okay, well, look, let's have a big treble, and then we can invite you down if we get it out, get the treble up this week. We can invite you down into the studio and get you a chauffeur-driven car down, Melissa. Before
problem.
you go, can I just ask you one question? Out of those three, unfortunately there's one non-runner, which one is the best bet of the three?
At the odds, I would say Nareem. I mean, I'm going to go for the value in terms of getting the bigger prices, and I have Nap Ninjago today. Hopefully get a few points in the old Racing Post Naps table if he goes in, but I think Nareem is really rock solid for the French, and hopefully can go on to score there.
Okay, lovely. Thanks very much indeed. Melissa, thank you very much.
No problem. Thanks, Peter.